Hi guys. Okay, it's Saturday, the 2nd of August, I think it is, or is it the 3rd? Man, my memory. Yeah, 2nd of August, Saturday as I'm recording this, and I'm going to read more of the Colburn. Yara's outside busy working on the greenhouse that we bought. So if you hear chopping and sawing of wood, that's him making alterations to it to strengthen it. I've read this before on the YouTube quite some time ago, but Joel suggested that I read it again. The real man and the real woman. These are the teachings that have been the past and they will be the future again in the kingdom of God. These are the teachings that have been lost, and so, as you heard from yesterday, that man digs the pitfall for himself through the leaving off of the ways of righteousness, treading the ancient paths. These were the teachings given to men in ancient times to make their sojourn on the journey count and to be a blessing in the lives of others as they strove for their goal, which was to become like God. All right, the real man. Man is divided not only into nations, peoples, tribes, and creeds, but also broadly in twain, meaning two. There are among all men, all peoples, two kinds of man, the real man and the weakling. Those who are neither wholly one nor wholly the other tend towards the nature of one or the other of these. Consider the real man, the man who reaches out towards godlikeness. He is the man in whom God has succeeded. He is God's elect. He is like unto a spreading tree planted in black soil, which blossoms quietly and doubles the yield of its fruit in the summer. Its fruit is delight to the mouth and fills the stomach with satisfaction. Beneath the canopy of its foliage, the weary find a pleasant refuge from the heat. In its shade, all men find peace and contentment. The weakling is like a tree whose leaves wither before the heat of the summer, whose fruit never reaches maturity, for it falls to the ground unripened and is trampled underfoot. Men avoid it, and the axe is laid against its bole. A real man filled with the calm of strength. You are the true image of God on earth. Yours is the noble life, and your reward here shall be a body preserved in youthfulness. When in the fullness of time you make the great journey westward, then shall your soul arise in the mysterious beyond, radiant in a glory indescribable. Behold the uprightness of the real man. Is he not the father of the orphan and the husband of the widow, the brother of the forsaken and the guardian of the fatherless? Do not the friendless find in him a friend and the poor a benefactor? It is not hard to give to the needy within reach, or to help the weak when they are at hand, but the real man works not in such narrow confines, for he stretches out his hand to those beyond. Watch him among the distressed. He talks with compassion and listens with understanding. See him among the lowly, how he deals with them in patience and kindness. Such men stand out among others, not only because of their qualities, but because of the respect which others feel bound to accord them. A great man is no less great though he lie prostrated and vanquished in the dust. The real man accepts both victory and defeat for what they really are, a challenge to his manliness. The real man stands apart in greatness because of his outstanding qualities, his love of truth and justice, and his hatred of meanness and deceit. Though great men make great events, even as great events call forth great men, they are not always the children of fortune. Success and acclaim do not always attend their undertakings, but whether they rise or fall is of lesser importance than how they rise and fall. It is not what a man does that makes him great, but what he strives to achieve. The greatest men have no memorial if their endeavours were unpopular or not crowned with success. For every great man with a memorial there are 1,000 unknown and unhonoured. The real man remains unperturbed by the winds of life. He does not flinch before misfortune or ease his head when fortune smiles upon him. When misfortune descends upon his head and his hopes and dreams are shattered, he does not go about lamenting in a loud voice, but quietly continues his daily task. If fortune is gracious towards him, he embraces himself and is not overwhelmed, for he knows that often it takes a better man to bear the bounty of fortune than to bear the burden of misfortune. The spirit of the real man does not bow before the blows of misfortune, no matter how grievous its afflictions. His calmness deflects its arrows, and his fortitude breaks its thrust. The shield of cheerfulness and the sword of courage he never discards in despair. Speaking about a real man, here he is, sitting down beside me now. How are you feeling?
Good.
Okay. Can I have a sip of that? Thank you. The card, it needs a card in it. All right, continuing with the real man. His contentment is not dependent upon the whims of capricious fortune, and therefore he is not cast down by her indifference. Like the metal measure, he is unchanging under all stresses. But the weakling, like the balances of the scales, is always moving up and down. The real man stands before adversity as a rock before the raging seas, firm in the midst of turmoil, solid and calm against the fury. His mind forms great designs, and his spirit delights in their execution. His ideas grow up, they are never stillborn, nor do they wither before maturity. The examples of great men shine before him as visions in the night, and their precedents walk with him by day. His high-hearted love of life exalts the spirit within him. He strains at the traces and is impatient for the run. He rises above the rock of opposition and splits it in twain, as does the sapling. He is like a great oak which rises above the shrubbery in the darkness and shakes out its branches in the glory above. He has compassion on the blind man, he helps the lame man, and he guards the deformed and afflicted against the mockery of weaklings. He carries himself with the dignity becoming a man. He remains unshaken in calamity. Deceit and hypocrisy are things far beneath him. He has an air of quiet confidence and courage to speak the truth. The thoughts of his heart are the words of his mouth, and whatever he promises is as good as done. The real man is he who serves the purpose of God and carries out his plan. Because of him all men rejoice for what they are, and the weakling he carries as his burden. The crown of glorious manliness is on his head. The mantle of courage is about his shoulders. He stands out from others in the pride and glory of his manhood. Give me a kiss. He treasures womanhood and the dreams of men. He is the master of earth and the Lord of creation. Nothing more is required of man on earth than that he be a real man. This is a sufficient objective and difficult enough for any man to achieve. Manhood is a state of freedom, but its stronghold is in the spirit of a man. The body may be held forcibly in bondage, but the spirit cannot be shackled. He who lies imprisoned in the lowest dungeon may be more free than he who walks above with a servile spirit, holding him in thraldom. Servility is the brand of the weakling. Never judge a man according to his estate or circumstances, but accept him as a man according to his state of manliness. He that is manly, hold as a man, even though he be your enemy, but he who is less than a man, hold him accordingly, though he be with you. For were your enemy a lesser man, he might proffer a hypocritical friendship and thus destroy you by treachery. It is well never to forget that some friends might be enemies, were they better men. Therefore, the measure of a friend, manliness, may also be the gauge of his sincerity. A real man does not debase or humiliate the manliness of a defeated foe, for in doing so he reveals his own baseness. It is well to remember that he who fights against you does so in the light of his own truth. And truth is not the pawn of battles. Rather, it is well to remember that he who fights against you does so in the light of his one truth. One as in had to fight for it. And truth is not the pawn of battles. A real man is hardy, tenacious, and brave. He is gentle with women and hearty with men. He disciplines himself according to the manly code. He is generous and hospitable. He is alert and audacious. Comfort, intemperance, and overindulgence makes weaklings. Struggle, adversity, and self-control make real men. A real man is a real man, and no power outside himself can take away his manliness. He is upright and strong, with a full measure of respect for himself. He is a man of deeds and not an idler. In manner he is quiet and discreet. He is prudent in all things. And with all these qualities go generosity, good nature, and reserve. Be not a loud-mouthed bag of wind, for quietness within a man is as a rock against which the tempest-driven waves of wrath and rage, rashness and haste dash in vain. It is far easier to be a weakling than to be a real man. Were the earth less harsh, or the circumstances of life less austere, man would destroy himself before the shrine of the languid goddess. Only real men can with safety destroy the tangled forests and wilderness of earth and make from them gardens. But will those who inherit the gardens be real men? The law decrees that they must be, or the wilderness will reclaim its own. He who would live in a garden must labour in the sun and subdue the soil. He who is content to live in the wilderness may sleep in the shade, but he is a slave of life. The real man stands out above all others. His head is high, his footfall firm, his bearing is dignified, his face calm, his hand steady, his heart tranquil. He sweeps aside all obstacles in his way, He proceeds, though all the dream fiends and powers of darkness seek to bar his way. Where is he who can gather the real men together and make them rulers of all men, that earth may resound with glory and with greatness? There are other chapters concerning the weakling and the attitudes of the real man towards the poor and weak and towards wealth. Right, let's continue. The attitudes of the real man towards the poor and weak. Thinking of what rules the world today. Lend your arm to the aged and open your purse at the cry of the poor. Guard well against the urge to plunder the unprotected and from treating the destitute with harshness. If you are lacking in compassion, it is well to remember that today one man be rich and another be poor. Yet, ere a year has passed, the rich man may be working in a stable, and the poor man may be clothed in fine linen. Such are the balances of life, and it is therefore wise to turn a like countenance towards all men. Help the man in unfortunate circumstances, for anyone can fall into the pit of misfortune. Commit no assault upon him by reason of his weakness, nor turn his predicament to your own advantage. Fill his stomach with bread and drink, provide a place for him to lay his head. Let your countenance be cheerful towards him, and let words of encouragement fall from your lips. Assess honestly the boundaries of the widow's estate. The land that is lost to the plough is the waste of a man's lifetime. Do not deride the clumsy speech of a lowly man. The fine phrases of the rich man may be pretty things of no substance. Sincerity is rarely bedecked with finery. What a man has in his head and heart is more important than the fine words that fall from his lips. An honest man is slow of speech. He fumbles for words and is confused, but his eye is straight. The wily man is quick of speech. His wits are ever sharp from constant use. The just God turns a ready ear towards the outcry of the lowly. Therefore the prayer of the poor man is greater than the might of sharp weapons, even though he is of no account among the people of his own time and destitute of the power of fine speech. If you see an aged man staggering with the fullness of potent drink, lend him your arm, that his dignity may be lessened. Treat your elders with respect in the presence of their children. Sit not while an older man stands, or while the weak and afflicted have no seat. If any man himself being powerful robs the helpless, he shall be your enemy, nor shall he be your enemy in secret, for this would make you a hypocrite. If you see injustice, hide it not in your heart, but cry it from the housetops. Even though you lose your life thereby and your possessions are lost to your children, have no dealings with the robber of the weak and the oppressor of the helpless. Of his estate he is unworthy, and it is just that it be taken from him. The real man is the protector of the unprotected and counsellor of the ignorant, for there will always be those who abuse power and strength to oppress them. They will rob the poor, oppress the afflicted, exploit the helpless man, and seduce the ignorant maiden from the household of her father. They burden the earth, and the real man knows how to deal with them. He shall wield the sword of vengeance in the name of the high God, and justice shall not weep outside the courtyard. Manliness carries its burden of responsibility. It is not a gown of fine linen, but a coat of mail. Let's go to the attitudes of the real man towards the wrongdoer. which is rampant, ruling the earth. Abandon the wrongdoer and the worker of iniquity to the dike, that the rising flood waters may engulf them. Thus their ways shall no longer cause disruption among the people. Let them be seized by the storm fiend in the midst of the rising waters. The lawbreaker and worker of wickedness are to be cast forth from the body of the people, that it remain healthy. The purveyors of filth and the fornicators will be met by the strong arms of real men. The day itself will stand up and make an accusation against their abominable doings, and the night will spew them forth. If the sons of wickedness say, "Lend us your arm in the shadows, let us set a trap for the unwary, that his goods may pass into our possession. Let us strike down from behind and leave his body in the gutter. Or let us possess ourselves of his gold by sly means and thus become rich ourselves. Or come, cast in your lot with us, that by our joint endeavours we shall become wealthy. Walk not along the paths with such as they, for as they lurk for blood, so shall their own blood be requited. The wrath of real men and upright men against the wrongdoers and workers of wickedness is like the hot blast that precedes the sandstorm, and before it the strength of the evildoer shrivels and becomes nothing. The wrongdoer becomes a slave to his own wickedness. Therefore do that which is right, and your spirit shall remain free. It is not sufficient for the real man that he turn away from wickedness. He is the fighting man of God, and his duty is to combat evil wherever he finds it. He who sees an evildoer at work and remains silent is an accomplice. He who remains inactive in the presence of evil condones the deed. That which is not actively opposed is encouraged. Hello?
Exactly.
The slanderer and gossip monger shall be cast forth, for their ways are evil. The fornicator and the seducer shall feel the strong arms of real men and regret their deeds. The thief and trickster shall be removed, and the murderer shall forfeit his life. The adulterer and those who dispense sorrow shall not go unpunished. But overlook not that which induces him to follow the paths of wickedness. Is it just to cut off the hand to punish the heart? Weaklings encourage wickedness by their weakness. Real men cast it out by their strength. That which benefits man is good and accords with the plan of God. That which is against the welfare of man is evil. But who among men is wise enough to know what is good and what is evil? Therefore inscribe the writings of wisdom on your heart, that you never lack a guide in the dark alleyways of perplexity. All right. We'll go over to women now. Put all of this in context, I'm sure you all are, as you picture what is happening around the world today, how the earth has been infiltrated with such evil and filth, and why the Christ is so angry is that Christian America, so-called, has allowed it. They are supporting, they are standing up with Israel to perpetuate this evil slaughter of the innocent. And through their ignorance, it's just brainwashed ignorance. They believing the lies of the Jews who say they are chosen of God. Well, they have been chosen of their God, which is Satan, the devil. They are the evil, the scum that has been allowed to infiltrate. Oliver Cromwell brought down Britain. These writings were written for the British, meaning covenant with a righteous man. This is all British. It's got nothing to do with the Middle East. Do you understand that? The bullshit that is going on now in the Middle East is based on a scam and lies by barbarians who know nothing but to lie, cheat, steal, destroy, murder. And how they laugh at the Christian world, so deluded, while the Christ himself, who is the example of the real man and has been alerting the world to the enemy of all mankind for decades, and yet he has been scoffed, rejected, abused by the very ones who say they worship Jesus. Well, you worship your Jesus, all right, and your Jesus is the image of the beast. You have been sold a pack of lies. You have been sold an image that has been given to you by the beast. The golden-haired, long-haired dude, soft pansy, he was a homosexual lover of some medieval artist. And then the other dude, the illegitimate son of Pope Alexander IV, Caesar Borgia, a thug, criminal in his day. So they're the two images that are bandied around on the internet. This is my Jesus. You're right, it's your Jesus. You are totally deluded. So let's move on to the real woman. Women, there are two categories of womankind: wives or potential wives, and women of pleasure. So you've got wives or potential wives and women of pleasure. The first of these are the intended mates of men, their companions and comforters, the mothers of their children and the goddesses of their hearths. The others become their companions in carnal pleasure. They dally with them, then cast them aside, and they pass on to the embrace of other uncaring men. Each woman decides which category she will join, and that is her chosen path. Never confuse the two kinds of women, lest you eat out your heart in sorrow and regret. It is decreed by the nature of things that womankind should fall into two groups, and each woman is to be dealt with according to the category in which she has placed herself. What kind of woman can be without a household? Only one who is cast out or has run away because of her misdeeds. Avoid the singing woman whose ways are frivolous. She is beautiful, but her beauty is like the honey in the honey pot. It attracts many flies, and they pollute it. Guard yourself against the wiles of a woman from a strange country, whose city and household are not known. Who are her people? What are her ways? From what has she flown? From her mother's solicitude and her father's supervision? As she leaves them to sorrow, so will she depart from you. Or does she flee from her own reputation? When the feelings of a wanton woman are deadened, as the edge of an axe is deadened by constant use, she ceases to please. She becomes as the wassailing cup passed around many times. Then she flees from the place where she is known and lays her trap among strangers, and he who asks no questions takes her into his household and drains the polluted dregs that remain. Avoid the flattering woman who would beguile you with words. Shun her who repudiates woman's covenant with the creating God, who casts the treasures of womanhood lightly before men. Her hand guides along the path of sorrow. Her embrace leads to the soul's desolation. She shatters the dreams of man. She is a traitor to womankind, the betrayer of womanhood. By the unclean embrace of the wanton woman, a man may be brought down to destruction. The adulteress lies in wait to suck the happiness of a family. A failure in her own home, she seeks gratification in the ruination of another. adulterate the household of no man by lying with a woman thereof. Men do not despise a thief if he steals because he is hungry, but all men despise the adulterer who takes what is not his to vent his own lust. If you commit adultery, then prepare to flee, for men will rise against you. For if they revile not the adulterer, nor raise their arms against him, then it is a time of the nation's degradation, and all men must look to their own wives. If men fail to punish the adulterer, then they encourage the seduction of their own women. In the land of weaklings, the adulterer hunts freely, for who will oppose him? Is it not written, that which is not punished is condoned? He who accepts meekly the seduction of a woman of his household is a weakling and coward and unworthy of the mantle of manhood. He who turns his face and sees not the seduction of another's wife encourages the adulterers and establishes their place among the people. All men who are men are jealous of the sanctity of their hearth and home, and the righteous wrath of a wronged husband shall overwhelm the guilty ones. His is the day of vengeance, and no gifts shall appease him. The man who declines to strike a blow in defence of his home and honour is a weakling and coward. Men turn from him in disgust, or he sickens their stomachs, while women despise him. He who suffers in defending the sanctity of womanhood suffers in the cause of God, who made woman the guardian of the portal of life. In the land of real men she reigns as goddess of heart, hearth, and home. When a woman whose husband is absent displays her beauty and encourages your visit, when she arranges that there be no witnesses and prepares her net for you, then is the hour of your manhood's trial. Depart from her house, for it is a place of evil. He who defiles the home of another cannot be justly wrathful if his own is defiled. It is not the way of a real man to defile the house of another in his absence. Only weaklings sneak around furtively to gratify their body lust in another's domain. If you are unfortunate and unwise enough to love the wife of another man, then degrade not that love by expressing it in dark corners like a cur. Go to the husband like a man, and let events happen as they will. If you wish to be welcomed in the household to which you are in the habit of going, always treat the women folk with reserve. Thus you will not be regarded with disfavour and will be trusted by your host. If he has daughters, he will say in his heart, such a man can be trusted with my daughter's welfare, for he is circumspect and a man of honour. A man who is not prudent casts an appraising eye over the women folk, and his host is insulted, for no woman of his household is indecent. Be not bedazzled by beauty alone. A beautiful tree with gay flowers rarely bears an abundant harvest. As a fire is beautiful and useful when restrained within the fireplace, but a thing of destruction when loose, so is the beauty of a woman when not kept in restraint by virtue. The beauty of a chaste woman inspires a man to greatness and to high accomplishments, that he may possess it. But the beauty of a harlot leads him along the paths of dissipation and improvidence. Men will strive and attain great things to satisfy their desire, but will cease their efforts if it be cast at their feet. The beauty of womanhood was ordained to inspire man, and of all things it is his greatest incentive to achievement. Therefore a woman's secrets are not to be lightly attained. The evil of the harlot is that she encounters the inspiration. The evil of the harlot is that she counters the inspiration of womanhood. Her wickedness is her cheapness. The pleasures of a harlot are of the body and exist only for the moment, to pass into nothingness like a dream. What have you given? For it is the loss of men. The vigour of manhood that bears man along the path of great things may also be a weapon in the hands of evil, but the weapon remains sheathed until placed in the hands of a wanton woman. The harlot sets her trap. The toils of the net are soft and supple. The weakling is caught easily, and even better, men are caught by deceit. The soul of a man is bruised, and the power of womanhood is weakened. The bait of a wanton woman may be seen from afar. It is attractive and alluring. The hook is well hidden. Her glance is bold. She seeks the attentions of men and spreads out her temptations. Her allurements are well displayed, for has she not had much experience? Her limbs are soft and shapely, her attire loose and inviting. Her eyes speak silently of furtive pleasures. Her bosom invites the caress of lust. Her smile softens the heart, and her tongue kindles the fire of desire. The smoothness of her tongue overcomes reserve, and her soft manner closes the eyes of wisdom. I'll move along to the same topic regarding women, but choosing a wife. This is so lacking in our world today. It is the nature of things that men should take unto himself a wife. And the law decrees the need of man for woman. But not every kind of wood is fit to make an arrow, and not every woman makes a suitable wife. Examine carefully the women of your acquaintance. Choose not hastily, nor fix your mind suddenly, for upon a proper choice depends your future contentment and joy and the welfare of your children. Choose not according to face and form alone, for these will pass, though fairness of face and proportion of figure are not to be disregarded. Observe your chosen one and consider her in your solitude. If her mind is over-occupied with dress and adornment, if she laughs too much and talks too loud, if she has a roving foot for pleasure and a bold eye for men, if her manner is crude and her tongue inclined towards lewdness, then though her beauty were as that of the sun, disk itself, and her form shaped to perfection, turn from her path and set your heart against her charms. Dismiss from your mind the alluring phantoms of the imagination. Your body may incline towards her, but it drags you towards sorrow. If her body calls and your heart says nay, then flee from her presence and see her no more. The heart of a wise man chooses his wife, but the wife of a weakling and fool is chosen by his body. When you find a maiden who can be your reasonable companion, who possesses a loyal and steadfast heart, sensitivity of spirit, pity and gentleness, delicacy of mind, softness of manner, who is intelligent and joyous, and with all this has a lively spirit, gather her to your arms, for she is worthy indeed to be your wife. She will be prudent and temperate, and a fitting mother for your children, and above all you will have a treasure beyond price. He who chooses a good mother for his children will find contentment and joy with his wife. Judge not your chosen by your own opinions alone, for your eyes are clouded and your judgment confused. Judge her by the opinions of other men. Is she sought by them as a wife, or is she one whom men follow for their pleasure? The greatest gift that life can bestow upon a man is a good wife. Therefore be diligent and prudent in your search, for a good wife is not gathered by the wayside. In your search for a fitting wife you will have many competitors, for though the divisions of men and women are nearly equal, many are the women who are unsuitable. Be diligent, lest to your sorrow you find none left to choose from, but those whom other men have passed over. None but the fool takes to wife the common woman, for she has her price and is available to all, nor the weak woman, for she can be taken by any man. Yet these too, as their attractions wane, will seek a husband for their old age, and lacking the attractiveness of virtue, will set their trap for the unwary. They will find their prey among weaklings who care not about their wife's virtue, for they take secret pleasure in their own humiliation and debasement. No man is more generous than he who marries a common woman, for he shares her with the multitude. When you find a good woman, cherish her as your greatest treasure. Let your kindness and consideration take possession of her heart. She is the mistress in your home, so treat her with respect, that the servants shall obey her and the stranger treat her with diffidence. If a man treats not his wife with respect, can he take offence when other men, observing this, treat her likewise? As she is the partner of your cares and the helpmate with your burdens, deny her not your companionship in pleasure. Be faithful and constant to her, for she is the mother of your children. He who drinks water from his own fountain knows it to be clean. He who draws water from his own well knows it to be pure. In times of affliction and pain, when your wife suffers in sickness or travail, soothe her with tender words and gentle countenance. A look of sympathy and a gesture of understanding from you will mitigate her trouble and be of more avail than the attention of many physicians. Consider the delicacy of her womanhood and the frailty of her body. Comfort her in grief and bear with her weakness. Bring wisdom and understanding to your aid. For if in marriage one is wise, two are happy. Happy wife, happy life. That's how it can be summed up. And then it goes on, do not marry while too young, for you have not experience to train your son, nor be too old that you have not the patience. There is a mean in marriage as in all things. He who chooses his wife rashly or in haste spends slow years in regret and repentance. The counsel of a wife is wise and bent to your own benefit, but the counsel of an outside woman serves her own ends. Love your wife wholly according to the dictates of your own heart, and rightly according to the statutes of men. Fill her stomach and clothe her back. Provide her with oil for anointing and hair for her adornment. Keep her contented and give her no cause for alarm or unrest. Be gentle with her, for she is a profitable field for your efforts. Enter not into dispute with her. For women are gentle and withdraw their hearts before force. If you are harsh, she will return into herself. Make her home a joyful place. An industrious wife is of more value than treasure. She endows her husband with peace and gladness, but a slovenly wife brings discontent into the dwelling place. The husband of an unchaste woman lives in a den of suspicion. There is no greater restlessness than that of a husband apart from an untrustworthy wife. A man loves his mother and his father, his sisters and his brothers all his life, yet they are not of his choosing. How much more likely should it be that he would love his wife, whom he himself chooses? Or is man's judgment less wise than that of fate? Nothing will ever bring you greater pleasure and joy than a good wife, or more sorrow than a bad one. Yet of all things he does bearing on his life and future, a man generally uses the least wisdom when choosing a wife. Be considerate, for the husband without consideration prepares his own betrayal. There are two types of women, true women and common women. The common woman is a fitting mate for the weakling, and the true woman a fitting mate for the real man. But the dispensations of life are such that common women will desire real men for husbands, and the weaklings will deceive true women. Therefore, the real man must be wise enough to know the difference between a common woman and a true woman, and a true woman must know the difference between a real man and a weakling. To know and recognize the divisions of men and women is not only the first step to contentment, but it is the duty of a people, if it would remain wholesome. When the dividing line becomes blurred, nations decline. Almost finished. It is easy enough to get a wife, but difficult to get a good one. Marriage is like the fisherman's net, easy to get into, but hard to escape from. No man is the same after marriage. Either his joys are doubled and his sorrows halved, or his joys are halved and his sorrows doubled. Here now endeth the lesson on real men and true women. Charlie's out the front, barking away. Now, again, the Colburn Ancient Wisdom, the Bible of today that everybody is reading. Is the trap for those caught in it, and they cannot see because they have been brainwashed into following it to the letter, especially about the believing of the coming of the Lord. This is where the trap is. And so at this time of the end, when man has dug the pitfall for himself, and as the atrocities continue, as the demoralization of the nations brought about by the Jews, who call themselves Jews and are not, these are they're the devil, they are evil. There is nothing redeeming about them. And they were the enemy of God when they put him on the cross, nailed him to the cross, because he, like the real man, stood up and told them the truth. He challenged them. The very fibre of their being, he upset them, he called them out for what they are: vipers, hypocrites, whited sepulchres, adders. They are condemned. And because they know their spirit, their soul, well, the demons controlling them, the evil within them, knows that it is condemned and its time is short. So we're at this time now where it is being dealt with. It cannot continue to exist. And as the leaders of the nation do nothing, do absolutely nothing to stop a man who, if the reports that his own psychiatrist suicided after treating him for 9 years, writing a letter, the man is a madman, Netanyahu. And then you've got the madman on the other side of the world backing him up, saying one thing, doing another. In Obama, 2 madmen. 2, one's a rabid dog, the other is total puppet. I don't think it knows its own mind. Whatever. In the meantime, the innocents are being slaughtered. I'm ready to finish. Call it a short day. 50 minutes, that'll do.
I'd only had one thing.
What's that?
I haven't touched my glasses.
Hey, have I not been good? This morning you were sitting right beside me as I said to you, I'm touching your glasses to move them aside for your plate of toast. Now get a load of this. This is how God has his toast. It's only cooked on one side. And
because it's thin bread.
This is a thinner toast. So I put two slices together, put it in the toaster so that only one side of each slice comes out cooked. So it's on that side that is buttered, and then the other side that is uncooked. This morning he relented. He went back to Vegemite. I put too much Vegemite on a couple of days ago, and he swore off it for all of his life. But he was back to it. Was it satisfactory this morning? Did I?
Oh yeah, I get peppered down.
Had to be the lightest smattering on the side that is uncooked.
Is that?
Oh, Vegemite is this black boot polish looking stuff. It's a yeast.
Very good for you, but it's almost intolerable.
Riboflavin and vitamin B. It's a yeast thing, and it's as Nutella is to Roma, so Vegemite is to Australia, and as peanut butter and jelly is to the United States, so Vegemite is to Australia. All children in Australia are raised on Vegemite. So that's why I touched your glasses this morning. I asked your permission. You were there, and I said, "See, they're going right here." So that
What did I say to you?
put them back. Oh, let's go.
Put 'em back, will ya?
Yeah. Bye.